No one ever thought the war would start over a meal. The cafeteria of Star Station Epsilon was always loud, filled with soldiers, traitors, and alien diplomats. But that day, silence fell like a blade cutting through the air. At the center of the room, a young alien girl knelt on the floor. Her blue skin shimmered under the lights, her eyes trembling with fear. A group of reptilian mercenaries stood around her laughing. One of them kicked over her food tray, sending pieces of fruit and metal dishes clattering across the shiny floor. "Eat it," the biggest one growled, his scaled jaw twisting into a grin. The girl didn't move. Her hands shook. Around her, dozens of aliens pretended not to see. They all knew who the bullies were, soldiers of the Dravak Empire, known for their strength and cruelty. No one dared to challenge them. No one except one human. In the corner of the room sat Captain Marcus Hale, a mechanic by rank but a fighter by heart. His uniform was old, his eyes tired, but he had that human spark, the kind that never learned to look away. Marcus stood up slowly, his boots echoing in the silence. The laughter stopped. "Hey," he said quietly, but his voice carried. "You dropped something?" The Dravak leader turned, his scales glinting orange under the lights. "Stay out of this, human," he hissed. Marcus looked down at the blue-skinned girl on the floor. She looked young, maybe 16 in human years. There was something innocent, almost childlike in her eyes. "Didn't your mother teach you manners?" Marcus said, stepping closer. "Or you make a mess, you clean it up." The Dravak roared, his claws flexing. "Do you want to die for an alien slave?" Marcus smiled just a little. "No, but I wouldn't mind watching you try." The crowd held its breath. The air felt electric. Even the hum of the station engine seemed to fade. Then the Dravak lunged. It was fast, too fast for most eyes, but Marcus moved quicker. He sidestepped, caught the alien's arm, and slammed it into the table. Glass shattered. The cafeteria exploded into chaos. Chairs flew, tables crashed, and the humans in the room jumped to help. They didn't fight for power or glory. They fought because one of them had said, "Enough." In less than a minute, the bullies were down. The biggest one lay groaning, his armor dented, his pride broken. Marcus looked down at him, breathing hard but calm. "Now," he said, "pick up her food." The alien glared at him, but the humans around were watching. The Dravak picked up the tray, one piece at a time, and placed it back in front of the girl. Marcus knelt down beside her. "You okay?" he asked softly. The girl nodded, her voice barely a whisper. Why did you help me?" Marcus looked around at the watching aliens, the broken tables, the spilled food. Because someone had to. That moment, simple as it was, spread faster than any rumor in the galaxy. Within hours, the story reached command centers and outposts across the station. The human who made the Dravak kneel. But what Marcus didn't know was that this small act of defiance would light a fire across the stars. The Dravak Empire wouldn't forget. They would want revenge, and the girl he saved, she wasn't just anyone. She was something far more important and far more dangerous than anyone realized. When Marcus returned to his quarters that night, he found a message waiting. A voice, distorted and urgent, spoke through the screen. "Captain Hale, you have no idea what you've started. The Dravak have declared a silent war. Be ready. Humanity just made its first move." Marcus stared at the message for a long time, the light flickering against his face. He looked down at his hands, still bruised from the fight, and sighed. He didn't mean to start a war. He just couldn't watch someone be treated like dirt. But sometimes, that's all it takes to begin a revolution. The next morning, the station felt different. People whispered when Marcus walked by. Some smiled, others looked afraid. Word had spread fast. A human had humiliated the Dravak warriors, and no one could believe he was still alive. Marcus didn't care about the attention. He only cared about the girl. He found her sitting alone near the observation deck, staring out at the stars. The galaxy stretched endlessly before them, glowing blues and silvers, swirling clouds of light. For a moment she looked peaceful, almost free. Then she noticed him and quickly looked down. "You don't have to hide," Marcus said softly, taking a seat beside her. "I'm not here to fight." She nodded but didn't speak. Her small hands were wrapped around a metal cup of warm broth. "They'll come again," she finally whispered. "They always come again." Marcus frowned. "Not if they know what's good for them." The girl looked at him, her blue eyes shimmering with fear. "You don't understand. The Dravak don't forgive. They destroy." Marcus leaned back, watching a patrol ship glide past the window. "Yeah," he said, "so do humans." They sat in silence for a moment. Marcus studied her closely. She wasn't like most aliens he'd met. Her skin glowed faintly under the light, not from reflection, but from within. The patterns across her arms looked almost like circuitry, flowing with soft light. "What's your name?" he asked. She hesitated. "Lira." "Pretty name," Marcus said. "Where are you from?" Lyra's lips trembled. "Nowhere safe." Marcus didn't push further. He knew what fear looked like, and she was drowning in it. Before he could ask more, the station alarms blared. The intercom crackled to life. "All crew to defensive stations. Repeat, all crew to defensive stations. Dravak fleet detected entering orbit." Marcus froze. "You've got to be kidding me." He stood up quickly. "Stay here," he told Lira, but she grabbed his arm. "They're not here for war," she said. "They're here for me." Marcus stared at her. "What do you mean, for you?" But before she could answer, the floor shook violently. The station lights flickered as explosions echoed through the hull. Distant screams filled the corridors. Marcus pulled Lira to her feet. "Come on, we're getting out of here." They ran through the smoke-filled hallways as soldiers rushed in the opposite direction, shouting orders. The smell of burning metal filled the air. A Dravak boarding party had landed. Marcus ducked into a side corridor and dragged Lira into a maintenance room. He sealed the door and leaned against it, breathing hard. "Okay," he said between breaths. "You want to tell me what the hell's going on?" Lira looked terrified. "They want what's inside me." Marcus blinked. "Inside you?" She nodded. "I'm not just an alien girl, I'm a carrier. My people created something, a key that can control any AI fleet. The Dravak tried to take it, so they destroyed my home. I escaped with the key hidden in me." Marcus stared at her, trying to process. "You're telling me they attacked this whole station because of you?" Tears rolled down her cheeks. "Because of what I carry." Marcus rubbed his temples. "Of course, just my luck." The station shook again, a direct hit. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Marcus looked at her. "All right, Lira. You're sticking with me now. We're gonna get you off this station alive." "But, no buts. You saved me from boredom. Now I'll save you from extinction." He opened a locker and grabbed a plasma pistol and 2 oxygen packs. He tossed one to her. "Stay close." They slipped into the smoke-filled hallways again. The once busy station was now chaos. Fire suppression systems hissed, alarms wailed, and fallen soldiers lay across the floor. Dravak soldiers stomped through the corridors, their armor gleaming red in the light of explosions. Marcus led Lira through the maintenance tunnels, narrow, dark, and echoing with distant gunfire. He could hear the Dravak roaring orders in their guttural tongue. Lira clutched his arm. "They're close." "I know," Marcus said. "We'll take the lower deck. There's an escape hangar." They turned a corner and froze. A squad of Dravak stood at the other end of the tunnel. Marcus fired first. Blue plasma lit up the passage. One alien dropped, then another. The rest roared and charged. "Run!" Marcus shouted. He fired again, covering Lira as she sprinted toward the exit hatch. He was outnumbered, but he didn't stop. Every step he took, every shot he fired was fueled by one thought. They forced her to kneel once. Never again. Lira reached the hatch and turned. "Marcus, go," he yelled. "Get to the ship." A Dravak soldier slammed him into the wall. Marcus grunted, hitting back with the pistol handle. Sparks flew. He ducked another swing and fired point blank. Finally, the last one fell. Marcus staggered to the hatch, blood on his sleeve, smoke behind him. Lira reached for his hand, helping him inside the small escape craft. As the hatch sealed and the engines roared to life, Marcus looked out the viewport. The massive Dravak ships loomed outside like predators in the dark. He turned to Lira. Guess we just declared war. She looked at him with wide, frightened eyes. You don't know what kind of war this will be. Marcus gave a tired, crooked smile. No, he said, but humanity's been through worse. The ship broke free from the burning station and vanished into the stars. The escape ship drifted silently through the black sea of stars. Inside, only the soft hum of the engines and the flicker of warning lights filled the air. Marcus sat in the pilot's seat, his hands gripping the controls. His eyes stayed locked on the radar. No signals yet, but he knew the Dravak would follow. They always did. Behind him, Lira sat quietly, wrapped in a silver blanket. Her glowing skin pulsed faintly like the rhythm of a heartbeat. She looked small, fragile. But there was something powerful inside her, something even she didn't fully understand. Any idea where we're going? She asked softly. Marcus didn't turn. Somewhere they can't find us. There's an old mining moon about 2 systems away. No one goes there anymore. Lira nodded, though fear lingered in her eyes. The Dravak won't stop. You shouldn't have helped me. Marcus glanced back with a half smile. Yeah, I get told that a lot. For a few minutes there was silence, the kind that only exists in deep space. Lira watched him carefully. There was something about humans she still couldn't understand. They were smaller, weaker than most alien races, yet they fought like they had nothing to lose. Why do you risk yourself for others? She asked suddenly. Marcus looked out at the stars. Because if we don't, what's the point of being human? His voice was calm, but there was weight behind it. The kind of weight that came from too many battles and too many losses. Lira lowered her gaze. My people believed we could create peace through technology, but we made a weapon instead. Marcus frowned. You mean that thing inside you? She nodded slowly. It's called the Core of Virelon. It can control AI fleets, rewrite command codes, and override entire defense systems. The Dravak wanted to rule the galaxy. Marcus whistled softly. And you've been carrying it around this whole time? Must make airport security a nightmare. Lira blinked in confusion, then smiled. Just a little. It was the first time she had smiled since he met her. The radar beeped. Marcus's expression hardened. They found us. On the screen, 3 red dots appeared, closing in fast. Strap in, he shouted. Lira grabbed the seat. The ship jolted violently as plasma fire lit up the darkness. Marcus pulled hard on the controls, diving toward a debris field of old satellites and broken ships. Bolts of light streaked past. One hit the rear engine, sending sparks across the cockpit. We're hit, Lira cried. Not bad, Marcus grunted. Still flying, mostly. He weaved through the floating wreckage, using it as cover. The Dravak ships followed, firing relentlessly. A piece of metal the size of a house spun past their hull. Can't shake them, Marcus said. Got any tricks in that glowing brain of yours? Lira hesitated. I might, but it's dangerous. Do it, she closed her eyes. The patterns on her skin brightened, glowing brighter than before. The lights in the cockpit flickered. Suddenly the radar went blank. Every Dravak signal disappeared. Marcus blinked. What did you do? I sent out a ghost pulse, she said weakly. It tricks their sensors into seeing nothing. But it won't last long, Marcus smiled. Long enough. He guided the ship toward the shadow of a broken moon, the old mining colony he'd mentioned earlier. The station looked ancient, half buried in dust, its lights long dead. They landed roughly on the surface. The engines hissed and died. Marcus exhaled and unstrapped. Welcome to our new home. Lira looked around nervously. Is it safe? He shrugged. Safe enough for now. They stepped out into the cold, silent air of the moon's surface. The gravity was light and the stars looked close enough to touch. Inside the ruined mining outpost, Marcus found an old power terminal. He managed to get the lights flickering on one by one. The room filled with the dim orange glow of forgotten machines. Lira sat near the wall, watching him work. You act like you've done this before, she said. Running? Hiding? Yeah, Marcus replied. Humans are good at surviving when everything goes wrong. For a moment they both laughed, tired but together. Then a strange sound echoed through the corridor, a deep hum, low and steady. Marcus froze. "Did you hear that?" Lira nodded. "That's not Dravak." He followed the sound toward the far end of the outpost. There, half buried under sand and dust, was a glowing blue console, still active, still humming. Marcus brushed the dust away. "Looks like someone left the lights on." The console flickered and then a hologram appeared, a human face old and scarred wearing an admiral's uniform. "This is Admiral Rhodes of the Terran Defense Fleet. If you are hearing this, humanity is under siege. The Dravak have declared war on all human colonies, but we will not fall. We fight no matter the odds." The hologram flickered, repeating the message. Lira stared at it, stunned. "They're already attacking your people." Marcus clenched his fists. "Then we're already too late." He turned toward her, his eyes hard. "If that thing inside you can stop their fleets, we're going to use it." Lira looked frightened. "But I don't know how." Marcus placed a hand on her shoulder. "Then we'll learn, together." Outside, the stars burned quietly. But somewhere in that silence, the storm of war was already gathering. And for the first time in centuries, humanity was preparing to fight back. The mining moon was silent again, but the silence felt heavier now. Marcus stood outside the old station, staring at the dark horizon. He could see distant flashes in the sky, small explosions, ships burning, stars flickering behind drifting debris. The war had already begun. Inside, Lira sat near the old power terminal, her hands glowing faintly as she tried to repair the comms system. The air smelled of metal and dust. "Almost done?" Marcus asked, stepping in. Lira nodded. "The system is ancient, but I can use it to send a message. If I connect my neural code, it might reach your fleet." Marcus crossed his arms. "You're sure it won't give away our position?" She hesitated. "Not sure. But it's the only way," Marcus sighed. "Then we'll take the risk. Humanity's waiting for a sign. Let's give them one." Lira closed her eyes. The glow under her skin brightened. Tiny sparks of blue energy pulsed from her fingertips into the console. The machine shuddered and came to life. Static filled the room. Marcus leaned over the microphone. "This is Captain Marcus Hale. To any Terran ship still listening, and we're alive. We have the core. Repeat, we have the core. Humanity is not done yet." The message went out into the void. For a moment there was nothing but silence. Then the signal light blinked, a reply. "Message received. Hold position. We're coming for you." Marcus smiled faintly. "Guess someone still answers calls out here." But Lira didn't smile. Her glow faded suddenly. "Marcus, something's wrong." The radar beeped. 1 dot, then 2, then 5. Marcus's stomach sank. "They traced it." Lira looked terrified. "The Dravak hunters. They found us." Outside, streaks of red light tore through the black sky as ships entered the moon's thin atmosphere. Dust and fire rained from above. Marcus grabbed his plasma rifle and checked the charge. "All right," he said calmly. "If they want us, they'll have to work for it." Lira stood up quickly. "You can't fight them all." Marcus smirked. "I don't have to. I just have to make them regret landing." The ground shook as the first dropship hit the surface. Dark figures stepped out. Tall, armored Dravak soldiers, their glowing eyes cutting through the dust. Marcus took cover behind an old mining crawler. His finger rested on the trigger. The first alien stepped into sight and Marcus fired. Blue plasma shot through the dust, hitting the soldier square in the chest. The creature fell with a heavy thud. "Welcome to the neighborhood," Marcus muttered. Lira crouched inside the station, her heart pounding. She could hear the echoes of battle. Plasma fire, shouts, explosions. She wanted to help, but the core inside her reacted strangely, pulsing faster, almost alive. Outside, Marcus fought like a man possessed. Every shot was precise. Every move had purpose. But there were too many of them. The Dravak spread out, surrounding him from all sides. He ducked behind a rock, reloading quickly. His arm was bleeding, his breathing heavy. "Could really use that human fleet right about now," he muttered. Suddenly, a bright flash lit up the sky. A Dravak dropship exploded midair. Marcus blinked in shock. "What the?" He looked up and saw something incredible. A ship with a Terran emblem breaking through the clouds. It wasn't large, but it was fast and armed. Lira's signal had worked. The Terran gunship fired a barrage of plasma bolts, cutting through the Dravak troops. Marcus grinned. Now that's what I call backup. He sprinted toward the station as the Terran ship landed nearby. The ramp opened and 2 soldiers waved him in. Captain Hale, one shouted. We got your message. Get aboard. Marcus turned to Lira. Let's go. She hesitated, her hands glowing again. Marcus, and I can feel it. The core, it's changing, he grabbed her arm. Then we'll figure it out on the ship, move. They ran through the smoke and dust as the last Dravak soldiers tried to stop them. Marcus fired over his shoulder, hitting one in the leg. Lira stumbled, but he caught her and pulled her up the ramp. The ship lifted off, engines roaring, fire burning below. The mining moon grew smaller beneath them. Inside, the crew worked fast. One medic checked Marcus's wounds while another scanned Lira. The readings glowed red. Sir, the medic said nervously, there's something inside her. It's merging with her nervous system. Marcus looked at Lira. Her glow was brighter than ever, almost blinding now. What's happening? Lira's voice trembled. The core. It's awake. The lights flickered. The ship's AI began to glitch. Screens flashed with strange symbols. Marcus grabbed the controls. Lira, shut it down. I can't, she cried. It's linking with the ship. Alarms blared as the engines sputtered. The Terran pilot shouted, Sir, it's taking over navigation. Marcus turned to Lira, his heart pounding. Can you control it? She looked at him, terrified. But then her expression changed. Calm, focused. Yes, she whispered. I think I can. She placed her glowing hand on the ship's console. The lights stabilized. The shaking stopped. The AI voice returned, calm and steady. System override complete. Welcome, Commander Lira. Everyone stared at her in disbelief. Marcus finally let out a breath. Well, he said, smirking, looks like you just got promoted. Lira smiled weakly, though her eyes still glowed like stars. Marcus, the core isn't just a weapon. It's a key, and now it's unlocked, Marcus frowned. Unlocked what? Lira turned toward the window. Outside, the stars flickered with distant flashes of war. Everything, she said quietly. And it's only beginning. The Terran ship drifted through the void, silent except for the low hum of its engines. Everyone on board was tense. No one spoke, no one dared to. The air felt heavy, like something alive was moving through the systems. Lira sat in the center of the control room, her hands still glowing faintly. The core inside her had connected to the ship completely. Every light, every system pulse, even the rhythm of the engines followed her heartbeat. Marcus stood nearby, watching her carefully. You okay? He asked quietly. She nodded slowly. It's strange. I can feel everything. The engines, the crew, even the stars outside. Marcus crossed his arms. Let's just make sure you don't start feeling me too. Lira looked at him, confused for a second, and then she smiled. It was small, but it made the whole room feel lighter. The Terran pilot looked back nervously. Captain, we're heading to the rendezvous point. Command wants a full report. Marcus nodded. Tell them we're bringing something the Dravak are willing to burn a galaxy for. The pilot frowned. And that is? Marcus glanced at Lira. Hope? The ship sped toward the rendezvous coordinates, an old Terran defense base hidden in the rings of a dead planet. As they approached, massive station doors opened, welcoming them inside. The hangar was alive with activity, engineers, soldiers, and medics running between ships. As Marcus and Lira stepped down the ramp, a group of officers approached, led by a tall woman with silver hair and sharp eyes. Captain Hale, she said, I'm Commander Vega. You've caused quite a stir. Marcus gave a tired grin. Good to know I still make an impression. Her eyes moved to Lira. And this must be the girl the Dravak want. Lira tensed. Marcus stepped in front of her. She's under my protection. Commander Vega raised an eyebrow. Relax, Captain. We're not monsters. Follow me. Both of you. They walked through the metallic corridors until they reached the command room. A massive screen showed dozens of red dots, Dravak ships, closing in on human colonies. The war's spreading fast, Vega said grimly. They've already hit Mars base and the lunar outpost. Earth Command needs something, anything that can turn the tide. Marcus looked at Lira. I think we have exactly that. Vega folded her arms. Then explain. Lira stepped forward, her voice calm but uncertain. I carry the core of Virelon. It's an ancient system that can control artificial intelligence fleets. My people built it to protect peace, but the Dravak tried to use it for domination. When they failed to take it, they destroyed my world. Vega's eyes widened. If that's true, it could be humanity's only chance. But it's not stable, Lira said quickly. It's alive, it learns, adapts, and decides. If I lose control, it could destroy everything. The room fell silent. Marcus stepped closer to her. You won't lose control. We'll figure it out together. Commander Vega nodded slowly. We don't have time to debate. The Dravak fleet will be here in less than 12 hours. If this core can give us control of even one AI ship, it could save millions. Marcus turned to Lira. You heard the lady. Think you can talk to the machines? Lira closed her eyes and focused. The lights dimmed. The hum of the bass shifted, one deep, rhythmic, alive. Blue streams of data began to flow across the main screen. The technicians gasped. It's connecting to the orbital network. Lira's voice echoed softly, layered with a mechanical tone. Core protocol active. Searching for allied systems. Connection found. On the screen, several dormant human defense drones lit up in orbit, their engines roaring back to life. Vega's eyes widened. She's doing it. She's actually waking them up. Marcus grinned. Told you. Never doubt a girl with a good processor. But then the lights flickered. The drones outside began to move. Not toward the Dravak, but toward the human base. What's happening? Vega shouted. Lira clutched her head. It's fighting me. The core doesn't know who to trust. Marcus ran to her side. Lira, you can control it. Remember who you are. Her glow turned bright white. The room shook. Sparks flew from the consoles. I can't, she gasped. It's too much. Marcus grabbed her shoulders. Listen to me. You're not just the core, you're Lira. You're more than what they built. You choose what happens next. For a moment, everything froze. The sound, the light, even the air. Then Lira screamed, and a wave of energy burst through the room. The lights went dark. Silence. Slowly, the screens came back online. The drones had stopped moving, now pointing their weapons away from the base. Instead, they hovered in formation, facing the stars. Lira opened her eyes. They glowed brighter than ever, but calm now. It's done, she whispered. They're listening to me. Marcus exhaled and smiled. Good job, Commander. Vega looked at the screen, her voice soft. We might actually stand a chance, but as she spoke, a distant alarm sounded. A comms officer shouted, Multiple warp signatures detected, and it's the Dravak fleet. Marcus looked at Lira. She was pale but steady. Can you control the drones? Yes, she said, her voice trembling. But not all of them. Not for long. Marcus picked up his rifle and nodded. Then let's make it count. Outside, hundreds of ships began to appear in the black void, red, glowing, and ready for war. Humanity had been pushed, beaten, and broken. But now, for the first time, the galaxy would see what humans did best: fight back. The stars burned red. From the Terran command deck, Marcus and Lira watched as the Dravak fleet filled the void, hundreds of warships stretching across space like a wall of fire. Commander Vega's voice was calm, but sharp. All defense systems ready. Drones are standing by. Marcus gripped the railing, staring at the incoming swarm. They're not here to negotiate. Lira stood beside him. Her skin glowed brighter than ever, the core pulsing through her veins like light through glass. She looked stronger. Not the frightened girl from the cafeteria anymore, but something new. Something powerful. They want me, she said softly. If I go to them, maybe they'll stop. Marcus turned, anger in his eyes. Don't even think about it. They'll destroy everything, she said. You saw what they did to my people. Marcus took a step closer. You're one of my people now. Humanity doesn't surrender its own. The alarms blared, red lights flashing across the deck. Enemy ships entering firing range, a soldier shouted. Commander Vega looked at Lira. Can you control the core's drones? Lira closed her eyes. Yes, but I need a direct connection. If they damage the core inside me, it could... Marcus interrupted. We'll protect you. Just do it. She nodded, then walked to the center of the command room. The lights dimmed again. The hum of energy filled the air, deep and powerful. Her glow spread across the floor like veins of light. Core protocol active, she whispered. Outside, the defense drones lit up in orbit, hundreds of silver machines turning in perfect unison. Their engines roared to life. Vega watched the readings climb. They're sinking. She's controlling all of them. Marcus looked out at the massive Dravak fleet. Let's show them what happens when you pick a fight with humanity. The first wave hit. Plasma bolts streaked across the darkness. The drones met them head-on, firing in flawless formation. Explosions lit the stars. Marcus shouted orders, soldiers ran across the deck, and the base trembled under fire. Through it all, Lira stood silent, eyes glowing white, hair lifting in the energy wind. She felt everything, every drone, every movement, every heartbeat around her. The core inside her wasn't fighting anymore. It was obeying. It understood her. But deep inside the enemy fleet, a much larger presence awoke. The Dravak command ship. A monstrous vessel, thousands of meters long, glowing with dark red energy. They're charging the planet killer cannon, Vega shouted. If that fires, everything within 1,000 miles is gone. Marcus slammed his fist against the console. Lira, can you stop it? She shook her head. Not from here. The core can reach their systems, but I need to connect. Directly, Marcus's voice dropped. What does that mean? Her eyes met his, sad but strong. If I link to their weapon, the feedback will burn the core. It'll kill me. Marcus's jaw tightened. No, we'll find another way. She smiled softly. You already did, Marcus. You gave me something I never had before, a reason to fight. He reached out, grabbing her hand. Lira, but she stepped back, her glow intensifying. Tell your people, humanity isn't fighting alone anymore. Before he could stop her, her body dissolved into pure light. The core within her burst free, streaming out through the ship's systems and into the void. Every screen on the command deck turned white. The AI voice echoed softly, almost like her voice. Link established. Outside, the core's light spread like a wave across space, a storm of energy connecting every ship, every machine. It reached the Dravak fleet in seconds. Their massive cannon powered up, then froze. The Dravak commander roared orders, but it was too late. The core had infiltrated everything. Target locked, the AI whispered. Marcus whispered back, Do it. The sky exploded. The Dravak fleet vanished in a blinding flash of blue and white light. The shockwave rippled across space, shaking every ship for miles. When the light faded, only silence remained. On the command deck, Marcus fell to his knees, breathing hard. The monitors showed empty space. No enemy ships, no weapons, no threat. Commander Vega stared in disbelief. She did it. She saved us all. Marcus looked up at the main screen. The core's light faded slowly, leaving a faint shimmer, like a ghost in the stars. A voice, soft and distant, echoed through the speakers. Goodbye, Marcus. He closed his eyes. Goodbye, kid. For a long time, no one spoke. Then slowly, every soldier on the deck began to clap. Not for victory, but for sacrifice. Commander Vega turned to Marcus. What will you do now? He stared out at the stars where Lira's light had disappeared. What humans always do, he said quietly. We rebuild. And we remember. Outside, the drones she had awakened still hovered in the sky. Silent guardians now bound to humanity's command. Marcus stood tall. His voice was calm but firm. She gave us her gift. Let's make sure we're worthy of it. And as the Terran fleet regrouped, the galaxy watched in silence. For the first time in 1,000 years, the universe saw the truth. Humanity was not weak, not small, not afraid. They were fire. They were defiance. They were hope, and no one would ever make them kneel again.